Hey everybody, this is Zack with Strength Coach Select and the Speed for Your Mind podcast. This is episode number 8. All right, today on the show we have Zack Nielsen. He's the Director of Athletic Performance at Eastern Washington for Olympic sports. So Zack, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Oh yeah, so I'm in my second stint here at Eastern Washington University. I was an undergrad track athlete here. I threw the hammer, and then I also did my graduate assistantship here following the end of my career. Originally from just south of Seattle, Washington, so this place is about as close to home as I'll move again. And I'm really happy to be back. Really grateful for the opportunity to work at the school that gave me so much athletically.
No, that's awesome. So previous jobs, where were you at? What did you do?
So prior to this, I was at Northwestern State University for a year as the assistant director for strength and conditioning down there. I worked in an assistant capacity with the football program, and then my own personal teams were men's basketball and women's soccer, and I did a lot with, I did a ton of the administrative side. My boss down there was really cool and letting me kind of get hands-on with some of the budget management and buying equipment and things like that. So that was, previous to that, I was here at Eastern Washington as a graduate assistant from 2014 to 2016. During that time I worked with the track program, and I was following my career as a track athlete, so it was a pretty easy transition.
Awesome. So today on the show I just wanted to talk about something that we a lot of people are talking about, and a lot of people are discussing or commenting on, posting on, you name it. The state of the field and where we can go, maybe what we can improve on, and overall, where we can go forward and make the transition into making the field better. So, I guess my first question to you is where do you think we are, and how do we get better moving forward?
I would say where we are as a field is we're kind of in just this middle ground of people are kind of starting to realize strength and conditioning isn't just a bunch of meatheads who like to work out. It's not just anybody can write a workout that's hard. We're becoming more of a recognized profession as like evidence-based practice, using scientific research and using literature and things that have been studied to improve the aspects we're working on. So it's, in that sense, I think we're moving in a great direction. The other side of it is the people who we answer to, the sport coaches, the administrators, people like that who, most of them have been in the game for a while, to where when they first started coaching in 1995, strength and conditioning wasn't a thing quite yet. That we had the NSCA and Boyd Epley doing what he did at Nebraska, but it wasn't as legitimate a profession as it is now. So, in terms of moving forward, I think we need to get more strength coaches or individuals who recognize what we do as strength coaches into those administrative type roles to help advance the profession. And we need to figure out a system, and it is impossible as it sounds, but of quantifying how you're a good strength coach or not. And it can't, obviously, the things like injury rates or kids getting stronger, performance improvements, play a big role in that and tracking those things, and we're getting very data-driven. But I think we need a little bit simpler of a version to where you can go to your sport coach and report X, Y, and Z. These are the qualities that we're trying to measure for my efficacy, for them to say, in a situation with a new football coach coming in, if your job's on the line, well, here's the things I worked on in the off season and we've improved them. Retain me. Don't put me out with the rest of the football staff, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I think that's such an interesting topic because there's so many different ways where people are here or there on different topics, and they don't quite understand exactly what we do and when we do it. Hold on just a second. Sorry about that.
No worries, man.
I think that there's a lot of different coaches that have one thought process and another. And I think that there's so many ways where the coaches can come together and really share their thought processes. And sometimes I don't think that's always expressed. You know what I mean? Versus sometimes when you can get coaches that are going to be able to express both sides of their training philosophies and both ways that they do things and kind of merge things together. I think that's ways that that's a way that things can move forward. And the more versatile we are, the better we can kind of display our successes and whether it's data, whether it's through just physical performance on the court, on the field. But I just think there's so many different ways that we can do that. And just like you said, there needs to be a measurement system on how we do it and how we can evaluate ourselves as strength coaches and how other coaches can do the same for themselves and their staffs. So how do you think that we measure that? I know it's a tough question, but how do you think that we measure how good of a strength coach we are, how good of a strength coach our staff is, how we just move forward with that in total?
I mean, for me, the easiest thought process is, in as much as I hate the thought of us as strength coaches having to answer to sport coaches, but at the end of the day, we're putting a product out for them, not just, I put their squat max up 10 pounds, but the kid hates coming to weights every day. I think we should, part of the quantifying process should be, pick your 5 senior athletes or your captains who kind of have a true read on the team and will be 100% honest with you and give them an evaluation form. Did I keep you not entertained, but were you ready for weights every day and you came in and we were energized, we were ready to go, even on the days you weren't looking forward to it? Did I help you get to that level? Did we see, increases in performance that we as coaches or we as athletes feel matter? If your soccer girl deadlifts 500 pounds but can't run, you got her stronger and there's a performance improvement, but it's not the kind of performance we need. So am I taking you to the next level as an athlete in your sport versus just being a weights coach? I think it's got to be in as kind of convoluted, and the variables for those kind of assessments could be anywhere, but I think a lot of it comes from your rapport with your coaches and your athletes. Do they like coming to weights? Do they look forward to seeing you 2, 3, 4 times a week all year long? Does your coach trust you with your athletes, or do they come and watch every single session to make sure you're not hurting their kids? I think it has to start baseline with something like that before we even go into things like, because in a team sport setting, yeah, your kid got faster. If you got your wide receiver faster this season, he dropped 2/10 off his 40, but they never throw him the ball.
Right.
In that sense, what we do has very little bearing on if they blanket his side and he gets an under coverage and an over and he's zoned up hard like that, he's not going to get the ball thrown to him. So it doesn't matter how fast he is.
Right. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
No, so how do you think we merge the two? You know what I mean? What we do, physical performance-wise, athletic performance-wise, and on-field performance with the coaches. Do you think, I'm just thinking in my head, do we, have evaluations from the coaches, and then we also have evaluations from the athletes along with our data to make sure that they're doing all the right things, or is it something else? What do you think about that?
I think I like that idea of you get some kind of assessment from your athletes, from your coaches, and then you can present that to either your department director, and then they can give you an individual assessment as well, or you present that to administration. And if it's, you're in a situation where you're at a small school and they're talking about cutting a position for budget purposes, well, my athletes like me, my coaches really like me, and my boss thinks I'm doing a great job, and here's all the performance improvements we had. If that can save your job, that's huge. And I really think that's kind of what it's got to be. Just like us working with sport coaches for the betterment of the kids. If a kid's beat down and you hold them out of a workout based off of an HRV or like a catapult reading or something, and you tell the coach that, and you need them to be on board to understand that kid has to sit out of practice today or take a lighter load or maybe only go through these certain drills for more recovery-based type training, or in that same sense, for that relationship needs to happen. The same relationship needs to happen to where that coach is going to say, no, they do a good job. I like them. I like what they do. On top of that, we track our performance stuff. So we're looking at jump numbers. We're looking at times on lift maxes. If you're a big FMS guy, if you can get everybody to a symmetrical 3 on each side, that's huge. So if you can track those performance improvements and have, the backing of your coaches on paper more than just, hey, I put you down as a reference.
Right. So what do you think we're doing wrong? What do you think that sometimes we're not always, doing the right way, or maybe we can improve on?
I think part of what we're doing is just, there's a lot of people who've become stagnant, or they just deal with the fact that, hey, I have a sport coach who wants me to only lift the kids twice a week. And, okay, cool. You don't go to games, you don't do anything. Okay, well, whatever, more time for me. And it's like, there are people who aren't invested. There's, we do a job, we're tasked for a certain purpose, but it's got to be more than that, It's,
right.
A lot of the talk in the field right now is turned from just, measuring strength, all that stuff, to relationships and coaching and getting to know your athletes. And, if I can get my athlete after a game to introduce me to their parents without me having to coax it out of them because they want me to meet them because it means that much to that athlete, I'm doing a good job regardless of if that kid got stronger or not. Obviously, we're looking to make the kid a better athlete, but if our relationship has been built that far, that is just as much a success as a coach as performance improvements, because now that kid's bought in and they're going to bust their butt for you, and they're going to have your back if anything comes down the line to where you need somebody to speak up for you. And so I think that's something a lot of people aren't doing is, I'm just a strength coach. I'm just a weights coach. Come in the weight room, here's your warm-up, here's your lift card, grab your shake, get out, see you on Wednesday. It's got to be about the athlete. It's got to be more than just, barbells and dumbbells.
No, that's great. And that's great information, man. That's a great answer. And I actually completely agree. I think that if the kid isn't, number one priority all the time, then maybe it's something that needs to be readjusted. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fantastic information. So, no, man. I just wanted to, like I said, we usually try and keep these around 12 to 15 minutes. So, just something quick, and I appreciate you being on the show, man. I really do.
Hey, I appreciate you having me, man.
So, good luck with all the teams. All right, and have a great rest of the week.
Hey, you too, man. Appreciate it.